yeah, I want to be an actor, and I'm training at the drama school in London. I've been on a foundation. And there's a lot of things that scare me and stop me from doing what I want to do. So I make excuses. For example, I had an audition the other week at this drama school I'm at, and there was no success, so I use an excuse like, oh, my articulation's not good enough, my breathing, why did he get in, that's not fair. But then what I want to do, and I'm scared of doing it, for example, is we have little group exercises where we do sight reading, and because I have dyslexia, I'm scared of just throwing myself in and looking like a fool, I guess. But I want to do it, and I can see myself doing it, but I'm scared of doing it.
Well, there are a number of things that we want to give to you, and you're going to hear this really easily. It's going to make perfect sense to you. And as you sort of settle in to the ideas that we are presenting here, you're going to find it surprising at how your discomfort dissipates and how powerful you begin to become. So, first and most important, now we've already talked about this a little bit here, but we're going to amplify it for the sake of this wonderful question. Do you hear what we say when we say the contrast causes you to put more into your vibrational escrow? So it's accurate to say that if someone is sick today, that their desire for wellness is stronger than when they were not sick. So they're actually sending a more acute, more pointed, more focused, more powerful rocket of desire into their vibrational escrow for wellness than before. So can you imagine how, if you are willing to subject yourself to the discomfort of those auditions, can you imagine you don't get it, you want it more. You don't get another one, you want it more. You don't get another one, you want it more. In other words, some of the most spectacular and well-renowned actors in the world are those who had rejection after rejection after rejection. And they often say that's what toughened them. We say, no, that's what made them. That's what helped them to fine-tune who they are. That's what helped them to know what they want. That's what helped them to intensify their desire, you see. It's so the rejections, unpleasant as they may seem, are the very stuff that are building your portfolio, you might say, in this vibrational escrow. You hear that and can feel that, can't you? But now there's another step to it. It doesn't matter. Oh, there are a lot of people that through that trial and error experience have built magnificent portfolios. As we said earlier, there is a veritable fortune aligned for so many people who never let themselves have it because they continue to beat the drum of the absence of what they want. So at some stage along the way, in other words, step one, contrast, 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 ask, 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 ask. You just can't do enough asking. Asking. Don't feel bad about it. Come away from one of those auditions that you didn't get, and if anybody says, how did it go? Say, it went really good. I added to my vibrational escrow. They won't get it, so you don't want, maybe might want another, find some other words, but we want you to know you added to it. You added to it. In other words, oh, I'm getting the momentum going now. My stream's really flowing now. In other words, you just, all of that, the more of those that you can go at and fail at, the better. Because the more often they say no, the more often you say why. What is it that I want? What is it that they want differently? So that's really an important thing to understand, and you got that completely.
Yeah.
Now the next thing is, and this is going to be an easy part for you too. This is the most important aspect of this adventure that you are upon. And the profession that you are choosing is slightly tricky here because as an actor, you want to appeal to the public. You want them to like you. But we want you to not give a rip about them. Because if you get too invested in what somebody else thinks about you, they'll just make you mad, crazy, because everyone is looking for something different. And as you're trying to conform to what this one wants and this one wants and this one wants and this one wants and this one wants, what you're really wanting to do is decide what kind of an actor you want to be. Decide, do you want to be someone that is just typecast? Do you want to be, if you do, become a derelict that lives in the street, become a drunk or an addict? There are a lot of those in movies, and then they can just say, oh, there's an addict. He won't even have to act. We can just prop him up here and he can play the part really well. Or do you want to be someone who is so good at your craft that as they describe to you who this character is, that you are able to assume the identity of this character and behave as this character would, you see. And so that's another advantage of applying for a variety of parts. You see, if whoever is conducting the audition does not evoke from you a good performance, they have not clearly communicated to you who this person is. So that's the thing that you most want to know as you're playing with them. Get them to describe more fully to you who this person is. Who is this person? How does this person fit into this? And then you, as quickly as you can, get yourself off alone where you can internalize for yourself who this character is. And once you know who the character is, the behavior will flow effortlessly from you. And if it's not flowing effortlessly from you, it's because you don't know who it is. And we suspect that that's what's going on. You're getting confused. You don't know for sure what they want, and you're afraid you won't please them, and you're not sure who the character really is, so you don't really know. But if you know that, then you will deliver it with your ease of style in a way that is authentic, that will blow them away.
Yeah.
Some time ago, Esther was in a hotel room. It was years ago, and she was holding her first laptop computer. It was the first time she had it with her. And she watched a television program. It was a Charlie Rose interview, and she always liked this particular interviewer. And the reason she watched it was because a jazz musician, Winfred Marsalis, was on the program, and they had just seen him. And so Esther wanted to see this interview. And so much that he said resonated with what she has learned from us and what she knows to be. But on the same program was an author. And he was asked the question by the interviewer, how do you write the dialogue for your characters? And he said, I don't. And the interviewer could not understand, well, you do write it. What do you mean you don't write it? And he said, all I do for myself is identify who the character is. And I put these characters who I've identified, and I could put any mixture of them together. I identify all of these characters, and then I throw them into a situation, and then they write their own parts because they are who they are. And so they consistently behave in the way that each of those characters would behave. And Esther said to us, Abraham, what do you think about that? And we said, well, let's see how it goes. And so we described a character for Esther, many pages of a character. And then we said, listen to what Sarah has to say to you. And now this character begins speaking. In other words, it's not a difficult thing when you know who you are, you see, to deliver the authentic performance. So the last thing that we want to say to you, and we touched on it just a little bit, is, and we know we're out of time, come to us where there is no time and we'll chat on endlessly. When you remember that you have access to infinite intelligence and that it is always there for you, so you care about being in tune with who you are first and foremost, that's where you gain your confidence. In other words, you don't get your confidence from experience. You get your confidence from alignment. So it's the pre-work that you do prior to the audition that matters most. It's the self-talk. It's that this is going to be fun. And at a minimum, I'm going to learn a lot. And it's going to be fun to interact with these people. And it'll be fun to see how they work this situation. And it'll be fun to feel how I hold myself steady. And it'll be really fun to see what it is they're looking for. And it'll be fun to watch the others and see how they go. It's going to be really fun to feel them pull through me. It'll be fun to see how good they are at drawing forth from me what they want. And here is the most significant thing that we want you to know. If you can see yourself as someone sought after so that you are doing the interviewing here. In other words, you're going to see if what they have going on here is up to speed with who you are. It's not about you being chosen from them. In other words, think about those actors that are offered the parts, who get to decide. They're reading the scripts. They're trying to decide, that's not for me. Oh, that's not for me. Oh, that doesn't appeal to me. That's who you are, you see. You get to decide whether you play with them, and if they are good enough, maybe you will. Good time for a segment of refreshment.